Okay, this is going to be our fourth session, I believe. And I do want to clarify that, these are not every single day. Sometimes they're back to back, but there is probably some time in between just because of my schedule and giving her break and, maybe even the weather. February is kind of an iffy month. I'm showing this clip. I've decided to bring in Grain, and I really want to show this clip because don't do this. I'm kind of amazed that this is what I was doing because look how overstimulated she is. She's out of control. Not totally, she's not bearing me down, but she is really aggressive and everything. And I'm I am rewarding her for this behavior because I'm giving her food. So I guess looking back, what I would do is more protective contact and not this situation. You can see I picked up the dressage whip. She is pretty sensitive to pressure in the sense of me pushing my hand and she walks away. This is also kind of how I was trying to get her better about being near me and my hand and everything. I don't necessarily think I recommend this. I think this is a very common technique, but I think this is almost, again, tricking them, and it's just maybe not ideal. You can see she touched my hand. She really had a negative reaction. Also, which this will not surprise you, they don't know how to take food from your hand. So even if they were comfortable with your hand, the motion of taking food from your hand is very awkward. That I remember taking some time. I did, I know I can visualize myself using protective contact to do this, just because you can see how overstimulated she can get. So just also keep that in mind that the actual motion of taking food is foreign to them. So she's not, at this current moment, I don't think I've given her anything that she's liked besides Grain and the pellets. I've tried a variety of snacks. My domestic will eat anything, absolutely anything you put in front of her. Henry has not been into anything. I even tried sour because I wasn't sure if she just didn't like the sweet, but she's not into it, which is fine. I'll probably just keep giving her stuff to see if she will ever take it. But anyway, so you can see where she has kind of calmed down because she's working for it. Again, if you want to do this method, I think I would think about protective contact. And I'm hoping what my thought was here was that was just too much for her and I needed to break it down. So that's the common theme about everything is break it down. I think the motion of my hand scared her, and that's why I'm repeating the motion to be it's not actually scary. You're okay. This is where I think I get a little bit off. I changed my mind about my approach, and looking back at these videos, I remember feeling like I was stuck and feeling frustrated. And looking at them, I wasn't. It's actually, I was just telling my sister yesterday how I remember being really down about our progress, really impatient, really this is never going to work. I'm never going to be able to do stuff with her. And looking at these videos, it's what was I thinking? She literally the second day walked up to my hand and took hay from it. She's really uncomfortable, but she did it. And I don't know. It's so frustrating looking back because I was it was fine. You were fine. You were freaking out. You were all pissed off and upset and anxious over nothing. Of course it's a whole thing, but it's fine. Okay, I am going to speed through this portion because it's about the same stuff where I'm attempting to touch. Again, looking back, I'm really frustrated because I don't know why I'm going for her head when that's the worst part of her body. I should have gone for her shoulder. So I should have kind of evaluated what body part was the least offensive to her. and tried to work on that. And you can see where I do go ahead and move a little bit towards her shoulder. I don't know how I feel about me in her space. On one hand, I am pressuring her, but at the other side, I am giving her, I had this forage mix of food. This is not just like dry pellets or like grain. It's like a mixture thing. And I am rewarding her for me being in her space. I don't necessarily hate this idea, but I don't like it at the same time because you can see it's not what I talked about last time about I want her to approach me, not me approach her. This is directly hypocritical of that philosophy. The opposite, but yeah, it's just a little bit of, she's not incredibly comfortable. She's leaning away from me. And this is also maybe like I'm tricking her into spending the time with me because of the food. But yeah, again, this is not going to be glamorous. This is going to be me talking about how I did it all wrong and don't follow what I did. But yeah, it's just, I do appreciate how not crazy this is. Like, she's not completely leaving except for certain points. And I am happy that I am kind of adjusting what I'm doing based off her reaction. You can kind of see where I started for her face and then she didn't like that. So I started for her shoulder and then she wasn't crazy. So I just said, hey, I'm just going to stand in her space. So I do like that I adjusted within the moment to a smaller step. So again, think about breaking everything down into these small steps. This is me soaking grain for the domestics. My sister's baby has choked a couple times, so we go ahead and just automatically put water in, and then for my older mare, I'm like, well, you can have some more water in your system. That's good. Henry has figured out what buckets are at this point very well, so she's pretty interested. And again, just some cleaning up around her, ignoring her, doing my own thing. She's not crazy interested, but she'll get interested just to make sure she hasn't missed any food that I've dropped. But yeah. I remember trying to get her out of the way so I can get in and out was a little bit difficult because I obviously don't want to scare her by touching her to get out of my space, but I also want her to just get out of my space. So I remember that being kind of an issue. Well, not issue, but just me being really hesitant about that whole scenario. But I just kind of like cluck a little bit and she gets out of my space. Okay, so this is where I change tactics because I'm thinking to myself, she does not like me touching her. And I'm really close and crowding her when I'm doing that. So I'm going to actually do the extension of my arm technique with the lunge whip. I think this was helpful because it made her establish that when she gets touched, nothing bad happens. I don't like that I'm not using positive reinforcement when I'm doing this. I'm using pressure release. So I'm not crazy about how I did this. Again, it's a little frustrating watching this because she reacted so well to the other things. And then I just kind of go, well, it's not happening fast enough, so I'm going to switch it. And I should have just kept going. Obviously, it's a lot of hindsight and how I know positive reinforcement works now and how Henry reacts to it. But I really feel like I stumbled around for a while trying to get a fast result when I didn't really need to. I think a lot of my anxiety about the speed of this is actually due to the possibility of her being pregnant. She does not look pregnant. She obviously doesn't have a bag. There's no signs that she's pregnant besides the fact that she was like less than a year out of, the wild. So I think a lot of my anxiety is just I need her to be at a good point. So if she gives birth and something goes wrong, I can help her and the baby or whatever needs to be done. Like I need her to be at a good spot, so then things that can happen, it could maybe, help the situation. But yeah, it's just, I feel like that was like kind of really on my head and on my mind and just kind of going around. I don't really like how I've trapped her in this corner. Okay, and also like what I'm going to say a couple times is probably like really hypocritical, because I have this like ideal of what I want to accomplish and like how it looks and all this stuff. And I don't like how certain videos on the internet look when dealing with Mustangs, but then I turn around and maybe do a very similar thing and act like I'm better than everyone else. But yeah, I'm not crazy about how I've trapped her. She's not completely trapped, but I don't really like that. I think at this point I was just like, it needs to happen, but did it? Probably not. I mean, yes, and overall, yes, but like, did this exact situation need to happen? Probably not. I like that I'm giving a large break when I walk away, really letting off the pressure. I should have done it more frequently because I'm definitely just keep going. This is me rubbing everywhere. So I'm rubbing along her butt. I'm rubbing along her back. Also, I'm pretty sure I was able to get like hair off because again, she's gross and shedding and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that's where I'm like a little more vigorous in my rubbing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much crap on you. I like how she looked at me. I don't necessarily know what that means in the sense of like keep going or what are you doing or get away from me. Oh, you can kind of tell actually the hair. Oh my God. It's so bad. I'll have another clip. My next video will actually be like when I get to be able to like brush her and like see like what's this expression? I'm not sure, so I think I'm just going to say, hey, you are doing something that I want to reward, so I'm going to back off, right? And this is me trying to figure out how to untrap her and get to her other side. But she's not interested. She's really interested in the buckets. Like, I don't know if I'm acting like, yep, see, she says no. But I'm also curious what she does when I touch her when she says no. And there was a little bit of a flinch you saw, but nothing like she didn't like kick out. So that's good. A lot of this is a lot of boundaries, trying to figure out where our boundaries are. I mean, obviously I'm ignoring her boundaries, so don't recommend that. But like I can read my domestic really well. Obviously I've had her for like 19 years. When she freaks out, I know how she's going to freak out, right? I don't know how Henry will freak out because I don't know this horse. She's also wild. Like, she's feral. Like, I don't know how she's going to go. I've learned, this will be no surprise to you, she is a bit of a kicker. Not crazy, but like, that's her most severe reaction is a kick. And she's really quick with them, so this is just a lot of back and forth. And again, I'm not sure about what she wants. I'm talking to her, I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to show you the audio of me talking to her, but because it's just me like babying her, like, what do you want, Henry? I try to make like a really specific voice when I call her just to like annoy her because I think it's funny. She doesn't really react to it. This I'm a little hesitant to do because I'm kind of like trapping myself, but she's got the hay, so I'm like, you know what, this is maybe okay. You can see the hair already, yeah. move too fast. The other time she had looked at me, I backed up. So that time she looked at me and I didn't back up. I just kept going, and I think that was confusing. I like her body language in the sense of she's a little more open and she's calmed down, I guess I should say. But I don't like that she's not engaged, and I think I should have used some positive reinforcement here because that seemed to have worked really well, whether it was hay or grain. Yeah, I really wish I had had a little bit more of a positive reinforcement approach on this one. I don't mind the lunge whip because I think that is good because I'm not in her space as much, but I wish I had just done a little bit more of what she had already excelled at. Again, this is me saying it wasn't happening quick enough, so I changed my methods, and I shouldn't have because the methods were working. They were just slow, but like they were working, especially when I look at these videos, they were working. What am I thinking? Also, on that note, keep a journal. I did have like a small journal where I kind of discussed what I did and kind of what my plan for the next day was. I got a lot better about it later once I figured out what I was doing, and then at one point I just completely dropped off of it. I think because I got really mad at myself, so I just like stopped. But recommend doing that just because I think it's good to be reflective in the moment. Try to do it that night or the next morning or something like that. Just try to be a little reflective about what happened during the session. Obviously, I do recommend recording yourself just so you can visualize this. Also, then you have clips for like later on when it's a year later and you're just like, this is crazy. We did this today, and like, you know, a year ago we were at this point in our life where could barely even approach. So I think that's important. Okay, I'm actually going to speed through the rest of this because it's the same situation, lunge whip. So technically not a lot has happened, but a lot has happened at this session, right? This recording I think is about an hour long with everything in it. I'm able to touch her. I'm able to touch her with the lunge whip. It's obviously nowhere near perfect, but I felt like I got to a good spot. So I went ahead and ended the session. So I can feed the domestics. We color code all the horses, so everyone's got their own color. My domestic, hers is bright pink because her name is Lisa Marie. She needs the pink. Henry, I did yellow because I felt like that would look nice against her. And my sister's Percheron is orange, and then we end up switching her to green. Anyway, pretty good session, I felt. Accomplished a good bit, but I don't know. Like, I wish I had done a little bit more positive reinforcement. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a trainer. I have no clue what I'm doing at this point, and you can see that because I've changed my method of a method that was working. So keep at it if you are getting somewhere, even if the progress is slow. I will say this, I think, again, it's longer in the front but shorter in the back. Like it's really amazing the amount of things that she will just kind of not instantly do, but like do quickly for me because we've established this communication. And that's it. 4th session down.